Right. Hello. Increasingly, more people in Southampton think of me as the bus lady, okay? Which is why I brought the camera to remind you all that what I do is make films, okay? I don't expect invitations. I don't ask for permission. I just come and film you, you know? Gosh, it's great to be here. I can go home because you said everything, James. You know? But ever since I landed in Britain 28 years ago, I was fascinated by the Speaker's Corner. So this is why I'm delighted to be here this evening and actually have my own Red Speaker's Corner. So I'm going to have a big ask of you, I mean literally big, to come and share with me, your knowledge and insight of Southampton, okay? Preferably not all of you at the same time, because I can only listen to one person at a time. But basically, the reason why I'm here tonight, apart from the big ask, I'm not going to let go of that, is because I want to persuade you that community journalism can tackle social neglect. But why should you listen to me, first of all? I need to establish some credential here. You know, you might wonder about my accent, you know, can we trust her? She speaks funny, she dresses funny, you know. She's inviting us on her bus, which she drives. Are we going to be safe? I passed my driving license on the 1st of March last year. Next thing I did, I uprooted a bollard, but never mind. Nothing happened since. So back to the business of community journalism and who I am. I started my life as a communist baby, okay? I grew up in communism where thinking for yourself was not allowed. It wasn't encouraged. I grew up thinking that there was just one way of doing things, that we had no choice. We were fed a daily diet of propaganda, fake news, and civic duty. We were so full of it, even though we were hungry at the end of every day. So, you know, we didn't know to listen to each other. The only listening was done by the Secret Service, to be honest. So anyway, as it happened, I was about 19, 20 when the regime was overthrown. We had our revolution in Romania. And I came across a team of distinguished journalists from World in Action. They came to my hometown of Brașov in Transylvania to make a film. And it was amazing how for the first time in my life, I discovered the reality that was right under our own noses. But we could not care about it because we didn't know about it. We didn't know about the orphanages, about the mental health institutions. We didn't know about people who are in prison for telling jokes. I got away. But anyway, so these guys came and anyway, I was so excited. The feeling that I had as a teenager, that the time was running through my fingers, that I was out of control, that stopped when I started working with the World in Action guys. So I thought, do you know what? I never want to let go of this feeling ever again. So they came back to England. They encouraged me to set up the local TV station. I had a camera, not this one. I mean, it was a lot older. But anyway, and they trained me on the phone, courtesy of Granada Television paying the bill. So they said, okay, what story are you working on? What's the other side of the story? Who did you talk to? Who did you leave out and why? Is anyone trying to use you? Why are people talking to you? And have you been fair, balanced, and inclusive? And obviously, have you got the evidence? Which was difficult in Romania to get evidence for anything. So, as you can imagine, over the next six months, I applied rigorously that training. My first report was from a tank where we were chasing the suspected Libyan terrorists who with the regime overthrow. I made reports about a senior member of the Communist Party who set himself alight as a protest against the Communist Party, and of course he died, and various other things. So as you can expect, I ruffled quite a lot of feathers. And eventually I thought, okay, I can't put up with this any longer. I've just got to go and train myself to become a better citizen of my country. So I thought, great, I'll come to Britain because of the best journalism here. And what I didn't know, and of course when you don't know the rules you can't care about them, is that my £200 that I had with me, my visitor's visa, was not going to help much. So, you know, I started looking around and I wasn't ready, and I thought, okay, I picked up on some colleges which didn't ask for my passport, and then I wrote a letter to the Home Office and say, I am a very proud citizen of Romania. Please let me study. I promise I'll go back. I just want to learn international law, Middle Eastern history, world economics and television production, and then I'll go. And they said no. They said, dear Miss Murg, go home, otherwise we'll catch you, we'll fine you £1,000, and we'll put you in prison for 6 months. So I thought, great. If you catch me, I won't have to pay for my ticket back. So anyway, I decided to stay. Needless to say that I moved around with my accommodation every 2-3 months, and then I had these nightmares that I was going to get stuck in this country, you know? So eventually, I found a job in a fish and chip shop. And, you know, it suited my English because really the conversation never went much further than the menu, like a large cod and a small cod, and, you know, it was, to be honest, it really stifled my imagination. And I felt an outsider. I was an outsider. So then I found my route to social integration, a dictionary of English slang. I came across a dictionary of English slang and I became part of the furniture. You know, people talked to me as if they knew me forever. So, as you can imagine, you know, while reciting nursery rhymes and all of that, it's very hard actually to try and, you know, people say, give me a bag of chips, and you give them a nursery rhyme and, you know, all of that really. But the thing is that I started using that social research, that place, as my social research hub, and I constantly was practicing my journalism training and thinking, which is, you know, why I forgot to press this, but never mind, this one, okay, which is why I'm persuading you that, I'm trying to persuade you that journalism is a state of mind and we can all adopt it safely without, I mean, just rock the boat in Southampton when necessary. So basically, I became, after all of this, I finished my courses, and then, as you'd expect, I was packing my bag when a very interesting Englishman who made dinosaurs for a living became sufficiently intrigued by me to ask me to marry him over a game of chess. So I said yes. And then I thought, well, I want to work, but I don't want to go back to the fish and chip shop, you know, it's flattening my brain. So I thought, okay, I'm going to work as a trainee journalist. I didn't have the faintest idea of how to do that. So nobody to ask. So I started from the phone book. You know, I started reading the phone book and talking to lots of people. I mean, obviously, now that we had Izzy Lawrence explaining, you know, I have a totally different view of why I was reading the phone book and talking to people. But essentially, that's how I started my career in television. And, you know, I'm not going to talk now about the ups and downs of actually being a non-British born in mainstream British television. I have been in lots of situations where I entered the Radio 4 room and people looked at me as if I was an animal in a zoo, but I learned to ignore things. So basically, I had the opportunity to work with some of the best journalists in the country, although I started from the phone book. My work in current affairs, investigations and documentaries won national and international recognition. We had some of the best awards. So why have I now traded expensive offices in London with all paid, trips in various countries to drive a bus? To be remembered as Claudia, the bus driver. Yes, that's my bus. You might have noticed it outside. It's ready for you, cups of tea and everything. Well, as it happened, I came to Southampton and, I felt quite creative at the time. And my son, Charlie, who is somewhere there, was born. So I thought, well, I'm going to stop frolicking throughout the country and I'm just going to be a mum for now. But it's amazing. It was only when I became Charlie's mum that I actually began to look around me. Instead of chasing fragments of reality, I could actually look around. And I saw a lot of social neglect. I realized that actually myself, like a lot of us in the audience, know a lot more about what happens nationally than locally. Now, I want to ask you, if you knew more about your neighbors than about your family, what would that look like? Okay? So I thought, I'm not going to have a part in this. I, Claudia Murg, in my adopted country, I'm not going to be socially neglectful. So I started attending all the meetings in the city. As I said, I didn't wait for invitation, I didn't ask for permission, I gate crash. The local transport meeting, I was banned. They told me they would let me in if I don't tweet and I don't write and I don't do anything. But then we became friends. Well, sort of, critical friends. So basically, what I noticed is that under this quiet, deceiving exterior, under this modest image that Southampton really holds on to, there is loads of interesting work and loads of eccentrics. We've got quite a few of them in the room here tonight. But do you know what? Nobody knows about them. Well, not nobody knows about them, but too few of us know about them because there were no reporters to report, there were no filmmakers to record. So I thought, this is our opportunity to shape a contemporary portrait of Southampton that we can all be part of. My mad idea is to create a giant video library where all of us will be there showing to others how we can learn from each other. It's part of a giant listening and observing exercise. So I am inviting you to be part of it. Because, we've got these expensive brochures published by various organizations. I'm not going to mention them, but they call Southampton a city of opportunity. And my observation, and probably some of you, is that those opportunities are not connected to people who live in Southampton. But we can change that. If we just overcome some mental barriers, and honestly, I am really I'm here to help you to sort of not think that Southampton has a great deal of potential, but it takes each of us to take a stake in it. We can help people to make informed choices. All I want from everyone is knowledge that we can be used to make life better for others. So the final point from me is that, 2 days ago, we had the local election, and it was disastrous in the sense that we lost some of our most skilled politicians. And we keep asking ourselves, why are we so apathic? And one of the reasons could be that we don't know enough about what goes around us. So you and I have a part to play. So I'll see you outside. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.